So, for Columbus Day, I thought we'd go over one of probably the most famous stamp series in the world, which is like the 1893 Columbus Exposition stamp series, which was commemorating for the 400th anniversary of Columbus's voyage. So today we're going to take a little dive and we're going to explore those stamps from the series. So let's begin. Oh, and also, just so you know, I am using my new camera for this video because I found out that I can edit it on iMovie because DaVinci Resolve is too slow for my computer right now. Oh, soon we might fix the computer and then I can start running it. Anyways, let's get started. The first stamp of the series is the 1 cent Columbus inside of land stamp. This was engraved by Alfred Jones when he was over 70 years old. And he got the idea from a painting by William Powell. The 1 cent denomination was used for half-ounce third-class mail, and 440,195,550 were printed. The next stamp is the 2 cent Landing of Columbus stamp. The design for the stamp was from the painting Landing of Columbus by John Vanderlyn, and it has the same design as the 15 cent pictorial stamp issued earlier. The 2 cent stamp shows Columbus with a beard, while the 1 cent stamp does not. I think the stamp was only 1 day after the scene, so that's funny. Also, this stamp is extremely common, so you probably have one or more of these in your collection because they made up 72% of all the stamps issued from the Columbus set. The next stamp is a 3 cent stamp depicting Columbus's flagship, the Santa Maria. This stamp was meant to be used with other stamps, as 3 cents wasn't a predetermined rate. 501,250 of these stamps were printed. The next stamp, which is the 4 cent stamp, might be from a Spanish engraving or an American book published 6 months before this set, but we don't know for sure. A major error in this series is on this stamp. The stamp was printed in an ultramarine color, but the error was printed in a blue color. Supposedly 2 sheets were sold to the public before they realized this error. 19,181,550 were printed. Columbus and his brother thought you could travel west to Asia instead of traveling east and going down to the tip of Africa to get to Asia. The distance he believed going west was 2,400 nautical miles. King John II of Portugal and King Henry VII of England and Queen Isabella of Spain rejected him. Queen Isabella finally agreed to fund the mission upon the pleading of an advisor. This 5 cent stamp is from an 1884 painting by Vaclav Brozic titled Columbus at the Court of Ferdinand and Isabella. The main purpose of the stamp was to pay for the Universal Postal Union half-ounce international rate. 35,248,250 were printed. Montgomery C. Meigs, supervising engineer of the Capitol Extensions, wanted Randolph Rogers to design the United States Capitol building winged doors. Roger chose the chronology of Columbus's voyage. Their installation was in 1868 and since then have been moved twice. The 7th of the 8 panels displayed Columbus's return of Columbus from his first voyage. This stamp depicts Columbus on the streets of Barcelona. To the left is King Ferdinand, and on the right stands Vasco Núñez de Balboa. He was the discoverer of the Pacific Ocean. Randolph died in 1892 on the 400th anniversary of Columbus. 4,707,550 of these stamps are printed. I just got back from work, so I'm a little dirty, and you can see I changed shirts. The next stamp is the 8 cent stamp, which is Columbus restored to favor. And it was made for the new lower registered mail fee on January 1st, 1893. That was when the new lower registered mail fee was. And I believe it was lowered from 10 cents to 8 cents. This is based on the painting by Over y Casanova, and it depicts King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella of Spain restoring favor to Columbus. Queen Isabella takes the hand of Columbus. Luigi Gregori painted 12 paintings for the second floor of the entrance hall of Notre Dame after a fire destroyed the first hall. The fire destroyed Notre Dame's main administration building. The post office used one of Gregori's paintings for their 10-cent Columbus presenting the native stamp. This stamp was originally meant to pay the fee for the registered mail that had been in place since July 1st, 1875. But when it changed to 8 cents, the 8-cent Columbus stamp was used. Now this was used for the combined first-class rate and registered mail fee. 16,516,950 were printed. 33 days at sea and Columbus sees land. The 15-cent Columbus announcing his discoveries stamp shows him telling about the discoveries of his voyage, and if you look closely behind him, you can see the natives. So something happened, and not all my footage, but some of my footage got lost. So I'm recording now on the day of. One of Ricardo Baloca y Cancillo's paintings could have inspired this, but the painting is lost, so we don't know for sure. We believe that the painting was lost during the Spanish Civil War. 1,576,950 of these stamps were issued. This next stamp shows Columbus in La Rabida at a Franciscan monastery. Here the monks are trying to give Columbus confidence to win his proposed expedition. Columbus tried appealing to France, but it didn't work. The monks ended up convincing him to try to appeal to Queen Isabella a second time, and it worked. The 50-cent stamps showed the recall of Columbus. This marked the first stamp of the denomination, and it paid heavyweight foreign mail. 243,750 were printed. The $1 stamp suggests that Queen Isabella had already paid her jewels to Columbus, but in reality, the triumph of reconquering the more controlled South in 1492 shows that she could have been willing to sell her jewels to Columbus then. This was the highest denomination on a stamp yet. The highest denomination stamps have went by then was 90 cents. These were more meant, these stamps, the next few $1, $2, $3, $5 stamps were more meant for the stamp collector than the everyday person, as those high denominations just weren't needed back then. 55,050 were printed. Our next stamp shows Columbus as a prisoner to Administrator Don Francisco de Bobadilla on the island of San Domingo, which is modern-day Dominican Republic and Haiti. Bobadilla had charged Christopher Columbus with administrator misconduct. Bobadilla had sent Christopher back to Spain for a trial where he was acquitted. The $3 Columbus describing his voyage stamp shows Columbus after he was made innocent. 27,650 were printed. The $4 stamp depicts Isabella and Columbus. This was the first stamp to depict a portrait of a woman. And what's funny is the first stamp to depict a portrait of a woman was depicting a portrait of a woman that wasn't even U.S. Because it was issued by the U.S., but she's not from the U.S., she was from Spain. So that's pretty interesting. And after the stamp, the more portraits of women would be like Martha and stamps like that. The $5 stamp was a bust of Christopher Columbus and perhaps the most famous of the series. Alfred Jones engraved the stamp and the $50 coin, and what's interesting is they're both looking in different directions. 27,350 were printed. Well, guys, thanks for joining me today as we learned about Columbus. That was actually pretty cool because I never knew much about those stamps. I always knew what they looked like and everything, but I liked learning about it. So it was last minute because last night the night before Columbus Day, I was like, I heard that as Columbus Day on my calendar, and I was like, oh, I should make a video. So I put it all together today. So I'm glad to have it out. Anyways, see you next time.